to give the presentation, we have Shyam Prasad, Kavitha, and Vinay from CGI Global. Their topic is API test generation production logs. Over to you, Kavitha.
Thanks, Lakshman. I hope I'm audible and
Yeah.
visible as well. All right. Thank you
Yes,
so
Kavitha.
much. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. As Lakshman already introduced, we are a team from CGI India, APAC. We are part of a solution business unit and we are responsible for the quality engineering initiatives across our business units. So, we have a large number of IP products across several different industry verticals. And with me, I have my colleague Shyam Prasad, who is a senior consultant, and Vinay Kumar, who is a lead analyst. Right. So Sham will be actually sharing my the presentations, and we've come up with the topic today is API test script generation tool. This is primarily from the production logs. Okay. Yeah. So I've just already talked about that. So we will be quickly covering these items in this presentation. So what are the problem statement and the challenges in launching a new API, and how does ATG come into rescue here? What are the solution highlights followed by key benefits? Right. So these are the things that we will be just discussing and debating on. So if you look at today's scenario, right, everybody is talking about the digital transformation, a lot of organization are adopting agile DevOps, AI ML techniques, or and their applications are getting modernized, right? If you look at in this current scenario, technology is ever evolving, right? If you look at the scenario where there's a conversation that is going on between two of them, right, the manager and an employee, right? So finally, the manager comes and says to the employee, "Hey, after 8 months, the senior management has finally approved your project plan." Right, the employee is not at all happy because he's totally disappointed. It's too late, right? And by now, all the technology has already changed. 8 months is a too long time, right? And our computations have already leaped progress. So the manager says maybe you could rewrite a new plan, or we could even submit the same thing, but with a different result. So that's the kind of conversation which is I hope most of you can relate to, and it might be happening in your organizations as well. But does it help, right? Can we resubmit the plan with different results? That might not really help, right? So now how do we really focus on that? Yeah, let's just get to the next slide. Okay. So we know that in the digital transformation, as I said, applications or the products are undergoing modernization. They might be adopting web services or microservices to ensure that the applications are being launched faster and with seamless integrations in place. So traditionally, if you look at what was happening, sometime in I think 1993, I think. In the API world, right? I think Dell was the one which came up with, IBM was the one which came up with the MQ. MQ based, message queues for exchanging data, right? And then started with SOA, a SOA enablement in sometime in 2002, and Gartner coined the term as actually enterprise service bus, right? And then since then we had several, evolutions happening. I think Boomi came up with integration platform as a service in 2007, and we had RESTful APIs by Netflix in sometime in 2008, right? And they were monetizing on that. And then Peter came up with microservice architecture in 2012, and in 2016 sometime, I think there was this rise of bot API frameworks from Google acquired API.ai, and also, and this from then onwards, they also started getting into serverless Kubernetes framework, etc. So that has been the evolution of the API journey. And right now, with the modern integration in place, whenever we develop any APIs, there are of course several types of APIs: private APIs, public APIs, data analytic APIs, so on and so forth, right? Everything. So we could actually, offer them on a platform, and the clients can pick and choose and consume them. right? That has been the evolution of API. Okay. And if you look at for some examples, right, we have Uber and Amazon, Paytm, Tesla, and recently I think the COVID platform also, right? It was the instant report creations or after vaccination and so on and so forth. It was so fast and seamless as well. So that has been the evolution of API's journey. And if you look at from a data analyst, like the 12 trillion USD digital economy is driven by APIs. I think that's where we need to focus as well, and that's how we got to focus on this particular challenge, and how do we really augment or really launch a new API quickly and also test that out, right? So that was the context that I was setting up, so that we come to our main core tool or the solution that we brought in place. Now let's look at, like, I think most of you also must be aware, right, or maybe you can relate to it, that a lot of customers keep asking us, like, how do we reduce the software development cost by 50%, yet it should be modernized, right? And then how do we really optimize our testing efforts? Okay, can we focus on completely API automation or in sprint automation in the agile world? So these are some of the questions customers keep asking us. And in a hurry, we start, in a rush, we start developing our APIs without any lack of strategy, or even there is no defined architecture or documentation in place. We just jump and focus on design and development of APIs, and there is no strategy with respect to continuous testing. We have seen that there's lack of API automation support when it comes to continuous testing, right? And also when it comes to API integration testing, we do not have a very innovative automation approaches, right? And last but not the least is, do we have the complete insight of the end user testing? When I talk about end user testing, after your product is in the market, right? What kind of navigation flows, what are the scenarios predominantly are used, right? We don't have proper insight into that. So that is what brought us to thinking of coming up with a solution called ATG. ATG stands for API Test Generation Solution. So what we started gathering is, from the production logs, right? We have, as I already mentioned, that we come from a product, division, and we have more than 70 plus products, or IPs is what we call intellectual properties, already at the client base, right, deployed at the client place. So now, what we do have a lot of challenges when it comes to the production defects, right? How do we really ensure that we resolve these issues, right? So one of the thought process that came to our mind is, like, why don't we replicate the production environment? Yes, we can always do that, but do we have an insight into what kind of scenarios are being actually carried out at the end user in the production environment? So we started gathering this production logs, right? That's what we started doing. And we started analyzing these production logs, and we started extracting the APIs, okay, basically based on what kind of scenarios they're logging, and we started capturing all the API extracts from the production logs. And then we actually constructed our APIs of the payload, right? And then we fed into a tool called automation framework we came up with, right? Right now we started using Robo, and we started automating all these APIs, and then feeding it to execution frameworks. And this is a continuous journey, right? This is what we started focusing on. Okay. Now, let's quickly move on to the solution highlights. Vinay will walk you through. He's been focusing on designing or even developing this particular product or a tool. Yeah, over to you, Vinay.
Yeah, thanks, Kavita. So solution highlights. So here we have API interface. What it does is it will get the all the logs from the like user acceptance testing. So it is the platform is similar to the production environment where we clone the production environment and create it as a user acceptance testing, and we will be gathering all the logs. From those logs, what happens is our tool will extract all the payloads, then API calls, headers, and all the details. Then it will create a test cases. Once the test cases creation is done, so what we will be doing is we will be doing one round of sanity testing manually to ensure that whatever the payloads, headers, all these things, API calls has been triggered, right? Like captured. So those are perfectly working fine or not. Once we complete the sanity check and ensure that the API calls is perfect, so we will be automating those API calls in the robot framework currently. Then, so currently we are planning, we are doing using the RESTful APIs and robot framework. So once the test scripts generation are done, so we can like use in the multiple frameworks like Postman and SOAP UI like this. So it is like we can execute in the automation. Just what Kavita explained in the previous slide. So along with this, we have another solution. We are planning for the another solution, and it is under development. It is a web interface where SME or any QA members can directly go to the web interface and consume this utility, and directly by selecting the options in the web page itself, get the all the API scripts and reuse in their framework, or if it is integrated, they can execute in the web interface also. So along with this, so we have a disconnected architecture where you like any user can directly enter into can directly take our utility or our plugin and feed into their architecture where it doesn't have any connectivity between the other systems, and directly like once it is installed in their machine, directly use this one, generate the test cases, execution, everything will be taken care without depending on the other systems. Yeah, with this I would like to hand it over back to Kavita.
Sure. Thanks for explaining that in detail, Vinay. Okay. So let's quickly look at, what are the key benefits, right, in terms of with ATG and without ATG. Like without ATG, I think the manual process that we were normally taking is we will kickstart the API analysis, and even to construct the payload, we can taking a very long time, right? So we had to analyze a lot of things, and even to analyze the API specifications. That was a kind of a daunting task. And then we started manually preparing the test cases, the test data, and everything, right? And then we used to automate based on the priority of that, and this is what was taking a long time. And then the execution and reporting. So that's how the cyclic process used to be. With ATG, there is no I would say particular block where we analyze the payload specification in detail, right? The ATG tool does that everything for us, and also auto generation of ATI test scripts is done by the tool itself. So we didn't have to actually, sanity test the test cases automatically. We were using the tool itself to generate the scripts, and then execution, and then reporting. So that's the cycle that has been followed with ATG. Now, we've just given a quick comparison with respect to the efforts that was happening with ATG and without ATG, right? For instance, like we did a POC or a pilot of this tool with taking some around 20 APIs into consideration, right? Now, before ATG, the effort required for analyzing the payload was about taking 40 hours, and then with for test case creation, the effort required was around close to 40 hours, and for execution, again, it was about 2 hours, right? Totally, the total effort consumed for 20 APIs was around 82 hours, and the cost for 20 API automation was close to around $1,640. This is a rough uh, computation, right, of the cost. Now with ATG, let's look at, okay, what are the kind of efforts that it is taking up. right? So for the same 20 APIs, it was just taking about only 5 minutes because the analysis of the payload was just done by the tool. And then the for automation creation, definitely we had to feed into the robot framework and create those scripts. That would us actually took about 100 minutes, and then execution was kind of very fast, around 25 minutes, right? In a nutshell, it was just about 2 hours, a little more than 2 hours, right? And the cost for this was about $43. So if we can look at very quickly here, the productivity gain with this tool has definitely been around more than 99%. And that's where, I think we feel that this is a very better approach. And then all of our API automation this is what the approach we are going to take forward to. Okay. Now going to the next slide. Yeah. So, just put together here the key benefits. We have definitely seen a very large increase in API test efficiency, and the productivity gain, as we have already seen, is close to around 90%. Even if it is not 90%, if it is somewhere around 70 to 80%, it is worth the effort. And yeah, definitely, it answers our clients' requirement. How do we optimize the testing effort? With this, I think we are going to ensure that we hit the right APIs and test the right APIs, right? Rather than the ones we might be developing thousands and thousands of APIs, but is it worth automating all of them? I think the key APIs where the customer scenarios, most critical scenarios are being dealt with, should be the ones to be automated, right? And with this, we've also seen that the improved test coverage, right? Especially because we are capturing this, the end users APIs, right? And I think with this, definitely, I think the test coverage has also improved. Okay, so that's a quick, solution overview. And with that, we come to the end of our presentation. We will be happy to take any questions right now.
Thank you.